So how do you make 6 figures a year from a hobby of weightlifting, and how do you do it 100% virtually? I'm here with one of my very good friends, my brother, Patrick Wilson, man. I appreciate you jumping on today.
Absolutely, man. I'm excited to be here, talk about it. You played a big role in my success, so excited to dive into it and go over everything for sure.
Let's get it, brother. So for the people who don't know you, just kind of tell them, who you are, kind of how you got started, and then we'll dive into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I originally from Columbus with Austin as well. Grew up playing basketball, played basketball in college, and then when the time came that I realized I was not good enough to be playing anymore, I decided that I needed to do something to occupy my time where I would stay active. And even when I was playing basketball, I really loved actually lifting and getting better and stronger. And I was always the smallest kid. I was 5'2", 100 pounds freshman year of high school, and had to gradually build muscle to even make the team and keep getting better. So just gradually fell in love with lifting from that. And then again, after I stopped playing basketball, really enjoyed that. And I was like, all right, this is the next thing I want to focus on, because so much of our time obviously we spent on basketball. So I was like, all right, I gotta do something to kind of fill that void a little bit. So lifting became that thing. Spent all my time in college lifting, researching about nutrition, workouts, all that kind of stuff. But I got my degree in finance because I was like, oh, this is the best financial decision for me to make. Once you graduate, get a job in finance, you'll do pretty solid, whatever, move up the corporate ladder.
Yep.
And once I graduated, was working a finance job and just absolutely hated it. I hated going to an office every day. I hated having a boss. Hated just the anxiety I had. I had Sunday scaries, but it was every single day driving into the office. And so and every morning when I would work out, I would always be damn, I wish I could just do something related to fitness or related to the gym. But I just never thought there was any money to be made from it.
Yep.
But finally got to a point in time where I was I would rather do something fitness related and make enough money just to get by.
Yep.
And have a business built around that, as opposed to still working this finance job. So long story short, started posting on social media about 4 years ago on a super regular basis. And I've built now a multiple 6-figure online fitness coaching business where I help people lose fat, build muscle, and do so in a realistic way. Do so while still going out, drinking, traveling, getting tasty foods, ice cream, pizza, all that kind of stuff. So that's the long and the short of how we got to here.
I love it, bro. I love it. So there's a lot to unpack in that.
A lot of it.
I want to rewind it back to middle school. Middle school, we were playing basketball together. High school, we were playing basketball together. And this guy was tiny, right? I'm gonna try and find a picture and load it on here, and then you see the after. It's insane. I remember in the weight room when you benched 100 pounds for the first time. I'm telling you, from where he started to where he is, it's been crazy to see it. 100 pounds, you were ecstatic.
Bro, I think that was still the best lifting day of my life, when I was I was probably 95 to 100 pounds and I bench pressed 100 pounds for the first time. I was ecstatic. That was the most happy I've ever been.
No, I love it, bro. So out of high school, college, we were living together in Columbus, Ohio, and you were working a corporate job. What exactly was it?
So I was working for a financial planning company. So we would help people with their taxes, with investments, and I was doing a lot of the back end work. My boss at the time was working and doing a lot of the face-to-face stuff, and she did a lot of work obviously with it too, but I did a lot of the back end work with it. And I was if I'm doing all this work to prepare for these meetings, and obviously she's the one that's getting paid because it's her business, I was I want to start my own business, one, and then two, obviously love fitness a lot more. So sure. That's kind of what led to it.
And at the time, we've been friends for many, many years. At the time, I didn't know how not happy you were, but talk about being in corporate versus doing something for yourself.
Yeah, I think there's pros and cons to literally any situation.
Facts.
It took me 2.5 years to 2 years of just grinding nonstop, of not making a ton of money with my fitness business, to have a 6-figure year. This year, it's on track to be obviously phenomenal, and it's been going well for a while now. But it took me a lot of time and effort to get to that point, and a lot of overcoming my own doubts, just day in and day out, and still a lot of anxieties during those first couple of years that I felt were kind of similar to when I was working that corporate job. Now it's phenomenal, and there's different anxieties, but it's more so built around building the business up more and more. But yeah, when you're in that position, when you're in a corporate job, I feel it is great because you get a consistent paycheck. You don't necessarily have to worry about a lot. Boss ultimately takes the responsibility if you just don't do work, you screw up, or literally anything, or they have to work longer. So there's that. That's what pros. You consistently get paid. You have time off, and whenever you want, you completely check out of that. Whereas now with my business, I'm always on 100% of the time.
Yeah.
But the cons obviously are like you can only your money making ability is only so much. You don't have creative control over what you do. If you have an idea, you can't implement it how you want. You have to get approval from everything. Have to be there. Yeah, and that was another thing too. Whereas like I hated going to the office day in and day out. Obviously, you need a routine to get any work done, as it was with anything, but I wanted to be able to have complete freedom in my life and kind of take my life by control how I wanted to.
I love it, man. I love it. We're back in Ohio right now, visiting. We're literally just sitting here at the table doing work on our laptop. We're like, all right, screw it. Let's do a podcast.
I was like, all right, well, I need to like kind of plan my schedule a little bit out, but like I want to go get lunch and then finish email. So I was like, yo, bro, can we knock this out right now? That would work.
No, I love it, man. So what was, there's a lot of people that, are in corporate or have a job or work as a waiter or whatever it is that want to take on that entrepreneurial journey. What made it for you to be comfortable taking that leap? Because it's scary. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's going from something safe to something new. Like what did it take for you to finally make that leap of faith?
That's a great question. And I mean, you could attest to this too in the moment because I was talking to you about it on a regular basis. I think that was the most like scary thing I think I've ever done in my life because my mom's a teacher. She's very much into education, like traditional route. My dad didn't go to school. So just like the fact that I got a degree and had like a good job, it was like it sounded kind of dumb when I told them like, yo, I'm going to like quit this job that I just got 9 months ago and like go all in on some random business that like, I'm starting from ground zero, starting on my own.
But that's what society tells you to do. Yeah. Go to college, get a degree, go to corporate, and work your way up the corporate ladder.
So it was completely like bucking the norm of what you think you're supposed to do. And I think that was like the scariest thing for me at that point in time. And so, yeah, that was the biggest challenge by far. I remember I like contemplated it for such a long time and I went back and forth. And finally, there was just multiple different times where I was like, I'd rather not have any money. I'd rather go back to living at my parents' house. I'd rather literally like not have a social life, literally do whatever instead of like being in the same situation and feel like I'm sure I could keep making progress moving up the corporate ladder per se, but it was only so limited and it just wasn't what I ultimately wanted to do. So I think it took me just like realizing that worst case scenario, I moved back in with my parents. I don't have money for a period of time, but I didn't have money all throughout growing up. So I was like, what's the difference now? I guess that was another thing I kind of thought about. I just didn't know what I didn't know. And then also too, like I really prepared a lot to get to that point. Like during the time when I was still working my corporate job, I did stop going out. Like I was going out once I started making a little bit of money, I was going out, we were traveling, we were doing a lot of different stuff, having fun. And then once I realized like, all right, I want to start my own business, I just started saving literally everything. So when the time came when I was working on my own, I didn't have to rely on this money from the fitness business for X amount of time, 8, 9, 10 months. And I also already had built up the fitness business on the side as I was working the corporate job. Yep. So like I had some like product market fit per se, or however you want to.
Proof of concept.
Yeah, I have proof of concept with it. Like I had already had 10 clients. I was making around $700 to $1,000 a month. But that doesn't sound like a lot, but my living expenses and like total cost of my living at the time was like $1,200. So like I was like, if I had, which sounds crazy, but if I like was making that much, I was like, if I put all my time towards this business now and have this money saved up, like I know I can make it happen. It's just a matter of building it up from there.
I mean, there's a lot of takeaways from that. I think belief in yourself to actually make that leap of faith. Making sure people are like, well, I don't have time to work this side hustle. You were working full-time corporate and you were working on your side hustle on the side. Yeah. So you weren't working 8-hour days. You were working 16-hour days or whatever that is.
More than that, yeah.
You were prepared. You prepared yourself. You were educated. You understood the fitness side of things to be able to go out and start a business. I think a lot of people miss all those things.
Yeah.
They're just like, well, I'm just going to quit one day. It's not like it's this huge lead up to the point where you have the confidence to then take that leap of faith.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess even you saying that now, I had more than enough reason and like right to do it per se. Like it was a smart decision and obviously it now is. But even at the time I was like tripping out about it. But now like looking back on it, I'm like, yo, like I know my stuff with fitness super well. I already had clients coming in. I had money saved up. Like, yeah, go for it.
For sure.
And obviously super grateful, happy I did.
Yeah. I think one other huge thing there is like you said your living expenses were like $1,200 a month. A lot of people go out there, get a nice apartment, get a brand new car, got to pay student loan debt, whatever that looks like, and their expenses are $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month.
Yeah.
The huge thing, especially if people are young out there, is to limit your expenses when you're young. Because like you are more mobile at that point because you don't have massive overhead.
Yeah, absolutely. And Yeah, I mean, again, I was going out, I was traveling, I was doing a lot of things, but I knew that in order to get to ultimately where I wanted to get to and like living the life I have the last couple of years and am now and continuing to build towards, like for a short period of time, you have to delay gratification. Like 100%. It's so cliche, corny, 100%. But like it's real. It's so real. Like you have to pick at least a period of time, 6 months, whatever it is, a year. Be like, I'm going all in on this thing and like doing anything it takes to get there. Because like, I mean, coming back to Columbus, like I love Columbus and I love the people here, but everything is the exact same as it was 4 years ago when I moved. Like same people in the gym this morning doing the same stuff. Like respect to them, but like they look relatively the same. Like people that were friends, like that, you know, again, love my friends, but like they're doing the exact same thing. And it's like, because if you're just in that constant cycle of like just day in and day out, just not putting the time for yourself or not having any specific goal or not having any intention behind what you're doing, like you're not going to get anywhere. So I completely agree.
100%. People aren't willing to sacrifice.
For sure.
But so, you know, we started this with the online personal training business, doing multi six figures online. It's 100% remote. So how does it even work? Because when you first told me about it, I was like, what do you mean? Luckily, I had the benefit of living with you.
Yeah, so you were damn near probably the only in-person client I've had relatively. It's still our shoot. We work out together before this, so you get the benefit of it. So actually, funny story behind it. So a girl I used to date, this was 2017. She had told me she did an online fitness coaching business, and I thought the same thing. I was like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, because like fitness training, like you're in person and you're training them.
For sure, absolutely.
Or at least that's what you think.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was like, what does that even mean? Like, it sounds like a scam. I'm like, what is that? What are you doing? And so she explained it to me. We ended up stopped talking, but then I like thought more about it, and I was like, I want to build my life with the idea that I can go wherever I want, whenever I want, do whatever I want at any time. I was like, if I have an in-person personal training business, own a gym. People always ask me if I want to like own a gym at some point in time. I'm like, but not if I have to be there. Facts. Like, I don't want to have to take that responsibility being there in person all the time and have to be limited to that. So I knew I wanted to travel. I knew I wanted to like move around, be able to experience new things. I love trying different foods. I love seeing different places.
I remember you told me like your goal is to move, like live somewhere for 6 months at a time and just bounce around. You've kind of done that.
Yeah, give or take. Yeah, so that was the intention. I wanted to build a business behind that, and also wanted to do fitness because that's what I love. And so I was like, well, girl I used to date had done this. Let me see how she did it. So basically the concept is that you work with someone, kind of figure out what their goals are, and then come up with a game plan for them with workouts, with nutrition, and then we check in each week and go over it. And honestly, I think it's honestly more effective than an in-person trainer, because an in-person trainer is there for 2-3 times a week at most.
An hour,
and it becomes like vastly expensive sometimes if you do that. If you have 2-3 sessions a week, I mean, that can be $50 to $100 a session. I mean, that's $600-$800 a month just on a personal trainer, and then they're not even talking about nutrition, which is a huge.
Just telling you how to do curls.
Yeah, and when every time you see someone working out in person with someone, they're just like, it's social hour. It's not actually like working out. So like, I think the model I have works a lot better as far as making progress, and it works for me and my schedule a lot better too.
I love it, bro. I mean, I was client number like 3 or 4 or something.
You were my third ever client. I third or fourth, yeah.
Yeah.
You're now my longest tenured client too. Shout out to you. Appreciate you, bro. And I will say, one of the coolest things, you know how people are always like, your friends and family like don't support you and you're starting a business, all that kind of stuff. I was so lucky and blessed, and I'm thankful and grateful. Like, all of my close friends along the way like supported me so much and like still do. Like, that's been like by far the coolest thing like I've ever seen.
That's awesome.
So yeah, really appreciate that from everybody.
You already know what it is. But like, I knew nothing about eating. What's it called? Macros and stuff. Calories, nutrition, that thing. And I hit the gym. I was playing basketball. I knew how to do that. And when I started working with you, you taught me how to like count macros, count calories. And at the beginning, it was very difficult. You had to look at the back of everything. You had to understand like serving sizes, like all that stuff. Now it's like clockwork to me. Like, I can count calories in my sleep. But the thing that a lot of people don't understand is like, it's like 70-80% nutrition.
Yeah, it's a huge part of it. I always say like it's 100% of both.
That's fair.
Like if someone just eats right and does the things that we focus on with nutrition, but doesn't work out at all and doesn't focus on the lifting side of things and stuff we do, like they'll lose weight, but like you're not gonna look how you want. Like you'll be like just really, really skinny and like just like probably won't be like as tone defined, all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, nutrition. If you're working out super hard and like not focusing on nutrition, don't know what you're doing, like you're not gonna look how you want. So it plays a big role.
And we said earlier, like I've worked out with you every day. There was a time you lived in LA, I lived in Columbus. So like there was a year to 2 years where like I was on my own and like I was more fit than I've ever been. I had a 6-pack. Like I'll call you like, yo, I feel good. I got a 4-pack coming in. And it's real. Like what you teach and what you talk about, like if somebody actually implements those things, it can literally be life changing. Because like coming from an entrepreneurial side, the better I feel about myself in the mirror and walking around, the higher I walk, which means the more confidence that I have, which means the more success I have in business. Yeah. So I think it's people downplay the idea of, you know, health. One, you're more confident. Two, you can live longer.
yeah, for sure.
For sure.
And I feel like that even for myself, like I mean, life happens, and like when you're building a business, like there's different seasons of building a business where like there's a point in time when I first made my first 6 figures, like I was only working out 2-3 times a week because I was trying to build social media. I was trying to understand how to like have the capacity to work with, you know, a good amount of clients and like just build the business up itself. And so like I got a little bit like skinny, but then also I kind of got like skinny fat compared to how I would want to look. And like confidence just wasn't as high. I didn't feel as good about myself. I probably could have been pushing more with my business if I would have been on top of that kind of stuff. And then honestly, this year, like beginning of this year, last 3-4 months, I feel like I've like finally put it all together myself too, like with my own personal fitness goals, business, all that, and the most success I've had and like continuing to grow. So.
I love it. So one more big question for you. I know when you started, you had a lot of clients. Now you have less clients, but you're making more money. Is that fair?
So it kind of went 2 different cycles like that. Yeah. So first build up, had a lot of clients, like wasn't charging a ton, like was charging like ridiculously low, like way low.
Agreed.
Like stupidly low. And, just because I was like worried that if I charged more, either someone wouldn't sign up with me or that they would like stop working with me like super soon.
Yeah.
As time goes on and like you realize that a lot of people want to work with you, and as my like social media started growing, all that different kind of stuff, I was like, all right, this actually has like a good amount of value, and I started to increase prices. And then moved to Florida, and again, different seasons of life, I wanted to have more fun, so I took on less clients, but was still making more money than I was just because I had raised prices and all like kind of scaled my business in an effective and efficient way.
Yeah.
And then now the last 3 months have been like kicking it into like full gear with drive and like kind of have that same grind I had about 1.5 years ago, but with the systems in
more
place
clients,
now.
More money.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
The reason I asked that, you know, we had multiple conversations on like the increasing price side of things, and I think
forever.
I'm like, bro, like you have to do this.
And you're like, not like $10, bro.
No,
like,
wasn't it one day you're like, yeah, I'm gonna increase it $15 or something?
You were like, dog,
double it minimum. But long story short, a lot of people are scared of that, right? Yeah. Because they don't value themselves and they don't have the confidence in the value that they're delivering. But when you really like understand like your true value and you're confident within yourself, you can name your price. You know, like there's somebody out there that's willing to pay it. Everybody's not your client. And sometimes like those aren't even the clients that you want. The cheaper ones, quote unquote.
Yeah, so you definitely have to increase prices over time. But I think for me, the biggest thing was like building confidence to get to that point. Like I think that if someone just randomly starts out in any business and they're like, yo, I'm going to charge you the highest amount or like a high amount, I'm going to be like, who the fuck are you? Like, what do you mean? So I think even you as yourself, you have to get to a point where you kind of build up your confidence. It's almost like in the gym. Like you're not going to go in and start deadlifting 4 plates or squatting 3 plates or anything crazy. Like you got to build up to that, build your confidence up with it. I do think that you have to come to a point where you got to like, be like, all right, you got to draw a line in the sand and kind of understand your value and like ask for a higher price. And I think when someone says yes, like you said, there's the proof of concept right there. Someone's going to pay for it. And I think that gives your confidence too. So it's kind of multifaceted with that. I think you should like be in the dirt and in the trenches and kind of build it up. But I think you got to keep in mind like the ultimate goal and kind of know your value too.
100%. Confidence. Literally, that's kind of how we started this.
Yeah.
Like, that's the idea of entrepreneurship.
For sure.
Simply just believing in yourself.
For sure. Absolutely.
So being an entrepreneur, you know, what's like the biggest takeaway or the one thing, you know, that you absolutely love about it? I think I know the answer, but I'm curious.
Honestly, I think when I first started, I would have said like the freedom of it and just like being able to travel and do what I want. And obviously, I do love that.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, no, I do love that, and I mean, I like the money I'm able to make now. But I think it's just like the challenge of consistently trying to get better and improve on what you did before. And with what I do, I really do love helping people and like wanting to reach as many people as possible. And I think those two things, like for me, I'm so just like process based and like I need to be making progress in some way, whether it's in the gym, like you see my notes on like getting better at squats or like lunges or just any random exercise. Like I need to be getting better and improving in some way, or else I feel like I'm like doing nothing. I just feel like stagnant. It like makes me anxious. And so I think with entrepreneurship, you literally can track how much you make each month. You can see kind of, how many clients you have. You can track your Instagram followers, TikTok followers, and like see if you're getting better. So I love just like that consistent, like trying to improve each day one after another. And then, yeah, for sure, just trying to, entrepreneurship, how you be successful with it is by solving problems and helping people with something they have an issue with. And I think for me, like we talked about, a lot of people don't have confidence in themselves, and a big part of that comes from fitness and how they look and how they feel. And they also, when it comes to fitness, they think you have to be just ridiculously strict at all times. And I think I kind of help people solve both those things, where they can still live their life, enjoy the fruits of the confidence. I mean, what's the point of having confidence? Say you get in shape with fitness by eating just like chicken and broccoli every meal, and you have all this confidence, but you never go out and you never meet people and you never travel. It's like, what's the actual point then of you getting in shape if you're just going to sit inside your house? So I think I empower people to do both. So I think that's my two favorite parts of it.
I love that answer. And I think that's something we got to dive a little bit deeper on before we wrap this up. So, you eat ice cream, you eat donuts, you eat pizza, you eat French fries. Like, you still enjoy life, right? So people out there that say like, no carbs ever about anything, or, no sugars or whatever those diets are. Like, I do the same thing. Like I can eat what I want to eat because I understand the macro, the calorie side of things. So just explain that to people a little bit, just so they understand, like, you don't have to eat broccoli and rice for a year to get in shape.
Yeah, for sure. So I think a few different things with it. I think one thing you have to think is, what are you going to be able to stick with long term? I think anyone can just cut out carbs for a month and you're going to lose 10 to 15 pounds. But like, what are you going to do after that? Most of the time when people cut out any food group for a period of time, when they start to allow themselves to do it again, they go way overboard with it, gain the weight back and so much more. So, and then you start to develop an unhealthy relationship and habits, unhealthy relationship with food, unhealthy habits. And then also I think a lot of times they've heard about like tracking calories and like tracking macros, but it's just like building a business. You don't want to have those first 6 to 8 weeks where it's really challenging and it's like it's so foreign to you and new to you. It's just easier for a lot of people to be like, oh, I'm just going to cut out carbs and try to lose weight. But if you actually take the time to understand nutrition and like why you are losing weight and why, so basically just to give a quick summary so people understand, you lose weight from being in a calorie deficit. Basically that means that the calories that you exert either through you just being a live human beings, you burn calories just from us sitting here, standing here, and then also through exercise, the amount you take in has to be less than that. I have a YouTube video too, if you want to check it out, anyone watching, just search calorie deficit Patrick Wilson, and I go over that super in depth, a more very realistic, simplified version of it. So check that out. But basically, I think a lot of people don't want to take the time to actually understand how it works. And I think that's the same thing with business, with anything. They don't want to take a period of time where they suck at something. Obviously, no one wants to suck at something. But once you learn that out, it's like a cheat code to like losing weight, losing fat, because it's like how it's actually done. And then, like you said, when you understand that like you can fit in a couple of pieces of pizza into a day of eating and then just manage the other calories throughout the day, still accomplish and hit your calorie goal, you're gonna make progress.
Facts.
And it's a game changer.
Yeah. So I mean, like I don't eat much in the mornings, if at all. I eat super healthy for lunch, like a grilled chicken salad or something, and then I have so many calories left at dinner. Like I can go out there and I can eat, and I can even get ice cream sometimes. So it's just understanding what it is and having that balance.
For sure, absolutely.
I love it, brother. So for anybody who's interested in working with you in Instagram, social media, where can they find you at and reach out? So Instagram and TikTok, I put out an exorbitant, I don't know if that's the right word, but I put out a crazy amount of content on Instagram and TikTok. I post about 2 to 3 times a day on Instagram, been posting 5 times a day on TikTok. Like it's just an unbelievable amount of content there at Gains by Pat. Check that out. And then if you are interested in working with me one-on-one coaching side of things, my just website, if you go to my page, you can go
go to it. There's a link to apply for one-on-one coaching. I also offer a fat loss guide that kind of goes over all the stuff that I would work with a client, just in a simplified kind of document. It's 25-ish pages, but it simplifies and talks about everything about nutrition, workouts. I have a workout program I offer, and then we're currently working on having other coaches and actually having like a legit coaching business and not just me, so that the principles and things we work on and kind of mindset other coaches can work with people on, so it can kind of start to scale a little bit. So a lot of different things I'm working on to start to like build it out more to help more people, but right now those are the main things.
At Gains by Pat.
At Gains by Pat.
There it is.
Holla at your boy.
Appreciate you being on here, brother.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. And thank you for being here. Make sure you smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Hit that subscribe and notification bell as well. Drop any comments below. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.